All right, baby. Lock Nation Sports, Week 1, March Madness in the books. How'd you make out last weekend, Johnny? Did you hit some bets? How'd you do?
A lot of green, a lot of no sleep, chasing winners all day long, player props, teams, the whole nine. But I mean, from pretty much outside of early Friday, I mean, I routed the books. So, like I'd say that early Friday was a little bit of a, let down. And then Friday night with JMU, Grand Canyon money line. What was the other one? That other one that I buried on Friday night.
Friday night. Well, I'm trying to think who played Friday night.
TCU. Who did you? Utah State.
Utah State.
So I had all those on in line, and then it got all the coin back from Friday morning. And then Saturday and Sunday was just an absolute bloodbath by the books. I mean, I just took them to the behind the woodshed, and I'm kind of bummed that the weekend ended. To be honest with you, I had a little left in the tank. I was ready to roll. I even sprinkled NC State women's money line yesterday just for a little heat check and hit. So I mean,
yeah, I was following that when you texted me. Yeah, so what you're saying is 4 straight days of 13 hours a day of betting wasn't enough for you to get the itch scratch, or what?
No, I mean Thursday ready to be here, and unfortunately it won't be at noon, right?
Yeah, I think we got to wait till 7:09 Eastern to get busy on Thursday. So what are you from? Was it South Carolina or North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Yeah, so you just got the books legalized down there. So I seen you were working those profit boosts, putting them to work. Love to see that. You got to get out on them early because it's give and take in this industry, and you got to get a little head start because it'll get ugly soon. All right, cool. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to discuss a little bit of our reactions to the first weekend of March Madness, some of the things we were shocked about, some of the things we expected that did happen, and some of the things we expect to happen next. We're going to start things off, obviously, like we did last time. We're going to start over with the UConn side of the bracket. Anything shock you on this side of the bracket so far, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, Auburn laid an absolute egg versus Yale.
Brutal.
So, obviously, anyone had a bracket probably had Auburn. I had San Diego State beating Auburn in the round of 32 anyway, so I wasn't very high on Auburn, even though they did have some firepower. I mean, I will say that bottom half of the bracket, I don't know what to make of it right now with Illinois and Iowa State. I mean, they look incredible.
I'll tell you what to make of it here in a second. But yeah, so the Auburn thing, that guy getting ejected was pretty wild. I mean, you got to be smarter than that. How are you gonna let like a 6'7" fucking white dude with 4 degrees in mathematics get under your skin in 3 minutes into a game is just beyond me. You got to be smarter than that, right?
Bruce Pearl fired.
Yeah.
I mean, if you lose to Yale as a 13-point favorite, I mean, you gotta start looking at somebody.
They had a good team, man, too. It's a shame. You can just feel it in those March Madness games, though. Once again, in like 8 minutes, and like the heavy favorites, like, they're up by 2 or down by 2, and like that window, you're just like, it's not like everybody in the building's rooting for the underdog. Like, it just gets so chaotic so fast, and it's just so tough for a heavy favorite to dig out of a hole like that. But yeah, so what I wanted to say, what definitely was, I'm just not surprised, but UConn seems to have another cakewalk like they did last year, which was not what I was expecting from looking at the bracket, before it started. But you're playing Stetson, then Northwestern with 2 injuries. That was never even a game. UConn, and now they play San Diego State. Like it's like, come on, what are we doing here? What is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a dream draw right there.
Yeah.
You're getting Stetson, you're getting Darren Ravel and Northwestern, and now you're getting San Diego State, who you beat 76-59 last year. And I looked at the matchups; it's almost the same exact teams. I think the people that UConn lost had less than 10 points combined. So they lost a couple big names, and they had less than 10 points combined or something.
Yeah.
And all of San Diego State, their big guy Leedy was there, right?
But he's on.
What they like to do is they like to get it to him all day long. But dude, UConn's got some big boys, and they're not going to just be getting bowled over like Leady's been doing to these other 2 teams so far. Yep. I think it's a bad matchup for San Diego State. But that's why it's 11-point favorite, right? That game's probably, I have it circled as my second least exciting game. I have it behind later on once we get to zone in Clemson. I don't care to see that game at all.
Yeah, I got you. So I think what was it the guy Kashad Johnson, the guy he transferred to Arizona? He's been good for Arizona too. So that's probably the biggest loss from the rematch that I've seen so far as like the rosters go. I mean, obviously UConn lost a couple of great players, but they reloaded. I don't think San Diego State really reloaded the same way UConn did. So yeah, I mean, I would be absolutely like just completely shocked if San Diego State won that game. I mean, the only way I could really see it happen is if you just muck it up, and they hold UConn to like less than 64 points for them to have a chance here. Like that's the only way. I know San Diego State did a pretty good offensive showing last game, but I mean Yale won their Super Bowl against Auburn. I mean those kids, they're gonna be making $200,000 a year next spring. They ain't worried about this. I mean,
yeah, they're not more on UConn like that.
Yeah. They already have like a hedge fund set up, so they'll be all right. All right. So then the Illinois Iowa State game. Definitely want to talk about this. So this might be one of my biggest bets of the tournament. I know I said this about Nevada in the last thing, but geez, man, we'll get into that upset. I mean that choke lead. I mean, Jesus, that was rough, man. But I love Illinois in this spot, man. Iowa State haven't been sold on them, all year. I know they've been playing really hot lately and play good defense, but dude, I just think offensively, I think this is going to be this is Illinois' game for me to control. What do you think?
Vegas thinks otherwise, though, right? So I think Vegas got it at
it's coming down
minus 1.5.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the spread. I think Iowa State's favorite. I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a coin flip. Both teams came into March Madness red hot. I think, Shannon Jr. has been on fire. So, I think offensively, Illinois has the advantage. But when it gets to March and it gets to crunch time, I don't think either of these two teams have been battle tested in March Madness yet, obviously, because, we figure Iowa State played South Dakota State and Washington
State blowouts,
like two bums.
Two blowouts for each team so far, yeah.
And Illinois played Morehead State and Duquesne.
Yeah.
So, both of them couldn't have had a better draw to this point, but they both looked the part.
Yep.
I don't know. I think it's a coin flip. I mean, Vegas got it at a point. I'm not saying Illinois is a powerhouse by any means. So I wouldn't put them.
That's the thing.
The favorite.
I almost kind of think they are. I mean, we talked about before this last weekend. We both agreed that Shannon's top two, probably the best player in the tournament now. I mean, Connect's had a pretty rough go at it so far. But I think they are a powerhouse. I really do. I mean, I know defensively, they've struggled throughout the season, but I think, obviously they played weak competition, but these last two games, they held the teams to 69 and 63 points. I mean, that's not like them. So if they had defense, the offensive mismatches that they could provide on the, the offensive side of the ball, I think they could be considered a powerhouse. And it's definitely a team that, if I'm UConn, man, they better bring their A game if they play Illinois. But I think if it's a UConn Iowa State, I think UConn just steamrolls them. But I think UConn Illinois, I think that might be one of the top games of the tournament if we do get that. But yeah, I think we spent enough time on that side there. So let's head down to the North Carolina side of the bracket. So what did you like? I mean, it seems like a lot of chalk for the most part on this side. You have a 1-4 and a 2-6. So what do you think about NC Alabama? A lot of offense here.
I do. I think that's a really good game. I'm on UNC again. It's probably a homer pick. I mean, I'm right down the street from Tobacco Road. But I think UNC's got a lot of good offense. I think RJ Davis. I also think they are going to be a lot bigger than Alabama. I saw Alabama play Grand Canyon, and I know they lost the guy pretty early, similar to Auburn, where they had a guy go down and get poked in the eye or something real early, and he was kind of done.
Yeah.
I don't know what his status is for Thursday, but I think they're just a lot bigger with basically their whole front five, like Harrison Barnes. Not Harrison Barnes. Harrison
Barnes.
Is it Ingram? Harrison Ingram.
Yeah,
Harrison Barnes, whatever. Long story short, I think UNC is much bigger than Alabama, and I think that I like that -4 all day.
Yeah, I think I hate to be the guy to give you the 1 over the 4 too, but I think I definitely agree with you here. I think UNC just has more of a complete team. I know Bama's looked better recently, but give it up 96 to Charleston. Come on. I mean, we knew that was going to be a high-scoring game, but 96 to Charleston's insane. And then the offense has slowed down a little bit in the last game, and they probably expected more offense in the Grand Canyon Bama game, but that was a weird start to that. So yeah, I think I'm definitely with you on the UNC side of this. I think, like I said, more complete team. They have more options in case the threes aren't falling to score some points. I mean, Baycott, after that first 10 minutes of that Michigan State game, really, looked like he found his groove there and got back right into March Madness form like he was, last couple of years. Well, he didn't make it last year, so the year before that. But yeah, he definitely looked like he was finding his footing again. He looked good. So I think that's going to be a tough matchup for Bama. We'll definitely have to follow the injury, though. I feel like if that guy, he's out, I think, like you said, UNC -4 seems like a really solid play there. I think I might be with you on that one too. So let's take a look at Clemson, Arizona. What do you think about that? I think Clemson over Baylor might have been the easiest bet. We were talking about that all day, man, from 2:00 on.
And then they tried, man. They tried to choke it away late. They had it under control, up 10 pretty much the whole second half, and then they just looked like they were about to, piss down their leg, and they ended up holding on in late fashion. Baylor looks pretty awful, though, I will say. So I wouldn't. That's not a kudos to Clemson as much as Baylor just really did not look the part of the 3 seed. I'm on zone. I'm just going to keep going favorites. Favorites don't lose. They went 15-1 on the weekend.
I'm with you on this one too, dude. I'm not. I think Arizona's, they're catching their stride as well. I know before the tournament started, Caleb Love, I gave him some flack. I still think he did a lot of stupid stuff in that game last game, and he could have been the reason that if they did lose to Dayton, like he kind of started that run with some turnovers and bad shots. But in this situation here, I think Clemson's overperformed so far. And I think this is a spot where they see their fun end. I mean, you got to think that, March Madness is absolutely drooling over, the Caleb Love, RJ Davis matchup. I mean, come on. This is what.
And I think it's likely. I think it's very likely. I think Alabama and Clemson are not that good. But let's talk about Nevada. What happened to Nevada?
Dude. That one, I'll say that in my nightmares. I don't even know how to explain that because that might have been one of the worst things I've ever seen. I don't even know what to compare that to. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't even get to the foul line. I mean, that situation, you have 2 guards that shoot like 90% from the free throw line. Just put pressure on the defense, dude. All you got to do is hit a couple of free throws and the game's over. Like, you're up by, what were they up by, 17 with 8 minutes to go? I mean, you just got to get the line.
I don't know. I think they ended the game on a 25-2 run. It's got to be up there with, 28-3 in the Super Bowl, or the 1 year, I think Oregon was beating TCU 36-0 in a bowl game and lost. Other than that, that was just an epic collapse, and Wolfpack fans are just sick. They probably turned the game off, just celebrating out there in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? Wolfpack
bettors felt worse too. Trust me, and I was one of them. I was counting my money.
Too. Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to bet like that, like, you know what I mean, like what bet are you gonna win? That was I don't want to think about that. But yeah, they're on my dead list. I'll never bet Nevada again in any sport ever. I can't. The Wolfpack are dead to me, dude. All right, cool. So I think we're looking at potentially here UNC, Arizona. The ratings will be out the wazoo on that one. So that'll be definitely a key marquee matchup that everybody would be excited for. So let's head up to the Houston side of the bracket here. Houston Duke. Houston, they almost took the dive, man. What was going on that final minute there? Jeez, were you watching that?
I was not, man. I was passed out. I would like to. I had a couple more games left in me. I won money on the game. I won a lot of money on the game, but I wasn't up to see it. And
the best thing to do is make money when you're sleeping. So that's what you did. That's good.
I think my bets were player prop. They had pretty much cash by halftime, and I didn't even need the overtime to hit them. So
yeah, but yeah, they were up by 10 with like less than a minute to go, and there was A&M was just hitting shots, and Houston was not making foul shots, and it was looking pretty dicey for Houston. I mean, if A&M as a team shot 60% or better from the free throw line, Houston's home. They're done. So I think Houston was lucky to dodge a bullet there. It's finally caught some refs that actually call fouls too, because those guys, they mug you every play. So I think Houston, their time's coming. I know you like them, but
is it this week? Is it this week?
It's going to be. I think it's going to be this week or next week. I think. The only thing that scares me with Duke is in this matchup, Duke doesn't really have interior defense, and Houston can kind of take advantage of that. But I'll tell you what, Duke's going to make their foul shot. So if Houston's fouling like they did last game, they're not going to win this game. But it's all going to come down to, the ref crew, how they're letting it go, and how they let the players play this one. What was the line on that one? It was like minus 188 money line. So what's that put it at? Like 3.5?
Duke's been looking good though, so I'll give them that.
Yeah,
they looked the part.
They got some guards.
Houston -4.
Okay, yeah, it's about right. Yeah, to
But Duke's
me,
look good. I mean, the whole state of North Carolina right now is absolutely rolling on offense and defense. And
yeah,
I mean, I think Duke was laying, were they laying like 7 points or something to
six and a half.
James Madison, and the whole country was on James Madison,
Yeah,
and
we talked about that
they
too.
were wrong. James Madison got tattooed.
Yeah, that was the public dog of the day yesterday or Sunday. Right after every single public favorite covered the entire day before. I mean, that was like printing free cash at that point. But yeah, so I think that's going to be a good game, Houston. I think it's all going to come down to like the refs, what they're letting go, and also how well Houston can take advantage of the low post there. If they do and they're smart about it, I think Houston could be in a good position to control that game. But if they're fouling and the refs are calling it tight and Duke's making the free throws, which they do, I think Houston, could be on upset alert there. But that's going to be a good game. I'm excited for it. I mean, Shed's unbelievable though. I mean, that guy, him and Sharp were shooting the lights out of the ball. I mean, Sharp started that game on fire, and then LJ Cryer's been playing good too. So it's going to come down to the big
men. He
men.
did awful in the first half. He
Yeah,
was like 0 for 5 from 3, and
yeah.
then he came out in the second half and just it looked like they were about to blow the brakes off Texas A&M.
Yep.
I think he had like 14 points in the first 5 minutes of that second half.
Yeah.
And then obviously from there, both teams kind of went on a little scoring spree. That score bumped up real high in the second half.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we'll see. We'll see what Houston's big man can do in that game. I'm excited to watch that one. It's going to be a good game. So let's go down to NC State Marquette. I think I hate to be a chalker here, but I think Marquette's gonna win this game. I think with pretty comfortable, like a wire to wire type winner. I think NC State. I mean, they're gonna hit their wall here. I think. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I think I like NC State here. Potentially money line. I definitely like the 6.5. I mean, Marquette's not that good. I watched a lot of that. Marquette, Colorado game. I wasn't impressed. Even by Kolek and stuff. I do think they got some people that can score. But, I mean, NC State's just hot. I mean, it might be a 2011 Kemba Walker situation where you just can't lose. And I don't think if the teams they've beaten so far, I'm not scared of Marquette if I'm NC State. Like, if you've beaten Duke, you've beaten UNC, you won a couple of games already in the postseason. I think you just got the hot hand. I don't even know if Marquette's gonna be able to handle the big man down low.
Yeah, that's my concern.
He can be eating in there.
That's my concern. So with that being said, I don't think Marquette really has the same situation as Duke, where they have pretty questionable down low defense, down low post defense. But I think Marquette, though, if they get hot from three, it could get busy in a hurry for them from the 3-point line, and then if you can't trade twos for threes against a team that shoots so well. And Cam Jones was lighting it up a little bit. Kolek was killing that little left hand scoop move. I know you were locked into that too. So that kid's good, man. He came right back from injury. He didn't skip a beat. But yeah, so I like Marquette as a team. So it's hard for me to. I hate to be a chalker here, but I just like. I like the idea that Marquette can get that game under control early and just keep it that way. So I think it would be. I mean, you get Houston Marquette matchup, you'd be Houston Marquette, UConn Illinois, and then you get UNC Zone. I know it's a freaking chalk fest, but God, that's what the people want to see, right? But I feel like there's going to be at least an upset or two in this situation.
How sick are you if you're Providence or Seton Hall? I mean, not Providence. Seton Hall. If you're Providence or St. John's right now, I mean, the Big East is 6-0, and for the most part have been running through teams. I don't think. I mean, Marquette had a little bit of a scare, but UConn's obviously had 2 cakewalks. Creighton's moving. They doing pretty well. So if you're one of those teams in the Big East, you're like, man, come on. We could be in there as NC State.
I know, but to pile onto that though, I feel like it was just so top heavy though. At the same time, you add more of the Big East teams, they're all eliminated anyway. So it's you get 3 good Big East teams, like we said before the tournament started. But other than that, I think there's a big drop off to any other teams. I don't think that they would have been winning games. I get it, they're 6-0, but I think it was just such a top heavy conference in my opinion. And who was fourth? What was it? Providence? Who was it? Seton Hall?
I think St. John's was pretty bummed they didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have probably 4 or 5.
I would have liked to see Pitino get a crack at it, just because I love rooting for him. I think he's a great coach.
They should have Pitino play his son. That would have been a cool little playing game. Rick Pitino versus son, a little 11 seed matchup.
Yeah.
Them versus New Mexico, and Loser doesn't get the mafia tattoo. I mean, doesn't get it.
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't get it.
I think the committee made all sorts of mistakes this year. There are so many opportunities for better games, and just to even put Virginia in there alone. Like, what are you watching all year? Like, just even if you think Virginia is a better team and you've truthfully thought that, give me something with more excitement. I don't want to watch a team score 48 points and win. That's not entertaining to me. It's not good basketball. They're not going to win the tournament, so what's the point? Yeah, they made a lot of mistakes. I think they could have gave us some better quality matchups here. So let's head down to Purdue's side of the bracket. Is this? I know you've been fading Purdue every step of the way here. Is this where Purdue takes the dive here? Or what are we doing?
Do I bet Purdue? Like, as I just want to see them die? Like, do I want to see them go off the tracks? Do I just bet them just for the sole purpose of knowing they're going to lose? Like, just to get it over with? I mean, I'm sick of looking at them. With Zach Edey, I watched the Utah State game, had Utah State money line plus 2,000 or whatever it was, and Utah State had like probably the luckiest first half they could have ever had offensively.
And they were still down by 16.
They were making threes left and right. People that they said were like 10% from the field. You know what I mean? Like, just so lucky. But and then on the other side, the refs just robbed them. So I mean, anyone that saw that game pretty much saw 400 or 500 fouls. But then I watched a lot of foul games this weekend, so that game hurt me just because I was on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't
the Alabama Grand Canyon game. I mean, I was like, come on, guys, like dribble the ball one time without fouling. Come on.
There wasn't a ref in the world that was going to put Utah State on their back and carry that team to a win in that game. There is no way Purdue was losing that game no matter what happened. So I mean, at the end of the day, dude, it's like, I know Edey's a tough matchup, and I personally hate watching fouls. I hate watching free throws. I think it messes the viewing experience up. I hate watching, stop. I want to see rhythm. I want to see fast breaks. I want to see movement. I don't want to see a guy shooting, 20 times in the line of the game, but at the same time, he's getting mugged. Like, you have to call it. I mean, I know it's not what people want to see, and I know it's frustrating to watch, but like, when you're getting smashed as a 7'4" dude down low, and like you got to call it. It's just the nature of the beast there. I mean, yeah, they weren't going to lose that game.
Like I said, I'm still sticking to my statement from this weekend. If you're on my Twitter account, I mean, Utah State got robbed. I protest if I were them personally, source sport or not. That being said, I think Gonzaga Purdue is a great matchup.
I think it's
Vegas got it at 5.5, so they don't think it's as good. I mean, Gonzaga has looked incredible the first two games. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
That Kansas first half was a war. I was like, Kansas looked good even.
Yeah,
with KJ Adams and other people. I'm saying that first half, they looked good. It was a good game. They're back and forth, good tempo, a lot of big people. And then same thing, I think. Then second half, they obviously routed Kansas, but I think that both those teams got some size on them, and they obviously got people with experience on both teams. With Purdue, obviously they got Eden and Braden Smith and all those people been there for a while, and Zaga's got a handful of people minus Drew Timme. You know what I mean? So a lot of the people have been there, but we started to look the part lately.
And we said it.
We said it here, or will you get by to the Elite Eight here?
Yeah.
Who do you like, man? You going Purdue?
We said before the tournaments, we said Gonzaga's team to watch out for, like the no pressure aspect. This was a year they weren't expected to do much. And, it feels like one of those things where like you had pressure for so long, then you finally get it taken off. It just makes the whole process so much easier. With that being said, I think Kansas personally stinks. So I think that kind of takes a little bit away from the Gonzaga-Kansas game. But at the same time, like Gonzaga did look good. And I think this is a tough matchup for Purdue, the way some of their bigger guys can move. If I'm Purdue, like I'm telling Edey, dude, don't even bite the ball screens. Don't even come up and try to help on the pick and rolls. I'm saying just stay in the lane, dude. Live and die by these kids making their mid-range jumpers. If they make them, they make them. And then, that's all you can really do. You can't have Edey chasing some of these dudes around. Well, they got that one white dude who's like 6'9" who can shoot. Like, he can't be chasing that guy around. They got a couple other mobile big men. So I think it's a tough matchup for Purdue. I don't love it. I was definitely rooting for Kansas here for my Purdue futures because that would have been a cakewalk, I think. Edey would have ate Dickinson the clown alive. I think that would have got really ugly. But yeah,
that would have been good.
I can't stand that guy. I couldn't stand that team. I couldn't stand that Timberlake kid. Did you watch that game? Timberlake, that kid was like shooting 3 after 3 in the second half. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Just kept hoisting.
Well, they had this guy actually. I don't know his name. It was like Furqua or something. Some other white boy on the team, and he must have chucked up like 6 or 7 bricks in a row. And that's when and it was just going. And Gonzaga was rolling. So like it was just brick. easy basket, brick, easy basket. And it went on for like 5 possessions in a row, and all of a sudden you blinked and they're down 14 and the game's over.
Yeah, and I think Bill Self, post game interview really spoke a lot to what he thought about the team as well. He was like, "Yeah, I was thinking about next year for the last 6 months." I'm like, "All right,
that is crazy."
Yeah,
imagine having money on Kansas there. I would have been sick hearing that.
Yeah, it's like, and if you're a player on that team, like, dude, I'm hitting the portal. I don't give a shit. I'm out. Yeah, I don't want to hear that ever. Like, you can't say that even if you truly feel it. But I think he was just so embarrassed with how bad that went and how just frustrating that season must have been. Dude, they were the preseason like favorites to win it all. That team stinks. They are horrible. I cannot believe they thought Dickinson was what takes Kansas from like a 5th, 6th choice to like a number 1. That kid, he's so overrated. He stinks. He's horrible. He's
they would have played a lot. They probably are a lot better if they had, McCullers.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100%. I mean, like, he's a good player. He's not like one of those guys who's gonna like completely change everything. They still would have lost to Gonzaga, but dude, I mean, Dickinson's like, he's like one of those dudes like when you're in like middle school, like he just hit puberty before everybody else. He's just bigger. He's not skilled. He's just bigger. He's like, you know what I mean? Like they like that big oafy idiot. Then he finally gets to high school, and it's like the kid that can't even sniff the court because he stinks. I can't stand him as a player. I don't like him. I don't like his attitude. I'm just so glad they got routed the way they should have. They deserved every bit of it. But obviously, I'm on Purdue to win the game. I mean, I got on to win it all. So we'll see how it goes here.
Did you think that Samford block was clean late in the game?
Oh, yeah. There's no argument. There's no argument.
Down block, LeBron James style.
Yeah, I mean.
And just call foul and ruin their season.
Yeah. Why are we not adding at least one challenge to college basketball? At least in the final 5 minutes of the second half. Give the coaches one challenge. You cannot let a play like that dictate an entire season of 30-plus games for a team who's on the cusp of one of the greatest comebacks in NCAA basketball history to get taken away from a bad call. What are we doing? Like, come on.
Yeah, and against the blue blood, too.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about the Samford to beat Kansas. I mean, like, talk about that miracle before the season. Preseason number 1 versus probably the number 416 team in the country.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Like, I couldn't even tell you what region of the country Samford's even in. But I was totally rooting for him there. I thought late, like that pressure started to mount, like we were saying earlier. And if that would have been what, a 4-on-4 or a break the other way, and they would have been moving with the ball. I mean, who knows what happened?
Yeah, they were down 1. They would have down 1 with the ball.
And then the other guy was on the floor. The guy who was, I think it was Timberlake, that got fouled, and he was laying on the floor. So it would have been like a 5-on-4, and they probably would have got a good shot out of it. So yeah, that was disgusting, man. You gotta give these coaches one challenge. It's a disgrace. I don't know what we're doing. Like the same way you should be able to challenge the pass interference in football again. We got to give these coaches one challenge. It's obscene. These games cannot be determined like that. Yeah, I don't want to get fired.
I don't think you should be able to challenge pass interference though.
You don't like that? No, I think you do. I think you
not
should.
Not unless you clean someone's clock like that. That Saints game that one year, Saints versus Packers or Saints versus someone, he just cleaned them for them.
It was the Rams. It was the Rams.
It was like the biggest missed call ever.
Yeah, it was the Rams, and the Rams went to the Super Bowl and scored like 6 points, and then Jared Goff would put on the worst Super Bowl performance in the history of the world. I had the Saints futures that year. I get robbed every year. That was a tough one to swallow. So let's head to Creighton, Tennessee here. I think this is going to be the best game of the entire first 2 days. I cannot wait to see Baylor Shireman take on Dalton Connect here. Tennessee did not impress me. I know you know that I also have them heavily in futures, but I think Ziegler will be the reason that they do not win anything because he's a defensive liability. He makes bad decisions, and he's not a good enough shooter for how short he is, and he's not a good enough defender. And I think they think he's better than he is. I would not be giving him as much time as Rick Barnes has been giving him, and Rick Barnes also, like in that game, Tennessee has a massive height advantage down low, and you take what was it, your 3 from 35 from 3? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, but they're going to be outsized in this game, in my opinion. When they're going up against Creighton here, Creighton's got a lot of length. Obviously, they got Connect's got some size, and Adu's got some size. They got a couple guys, but I think like pound for pound. Scoring the basketball, I like Creighton here.
I agree.
I don't love the spread. I just don't like that Tennessee's -3. I feel like it should be almost more of Iowa State game where it's maybe 1.5, or I didn't be leaning towards Creighton. So, I mean, I like the spread, I guess, because I'm probably going to bet Creighton, but I don't like the spread in terms of I don't know why Tennessee's favored by 3.
It's defensively. That's why. I mean, Creighton doesn't play nearly as good defense as Tennessee. I mean, obviously, I agree with you that they have more scorers. And I think, Ashworth versus Ziegler, I think Ashworth's going to have a lot of success on him offensively. But I think defensively, like as a whole, Tennessee just plays way better defense. I think the key here is can Kalkbrenner, he's been a little quiet on offense the last couple games. If he decides to wake up here and he gets back to, what he's been in the past, I think Creighton's going to have a pretty solid offensive edge as a team here. It's just going to come down to Tennessee. Can their defense be which tips the scales here against Creighton's offense? So I think it's going to be a hell of a game, man. I like Creighton too. I have Creighton futures as well. Like, it just sucks that all my teams are in the same bracket pretty much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it happens to me every year. But yeah, I do like Creighton as a team. So I mean, I could definitely see us going either way. I will not be betting the game personally. I mean, I have more of a future liability for myself on Tennessee than Creighton, but I think Purdue will probably beat either one of these teams just because Creighton doesn't have much depth, and they're probably going to run out and get some gas here. And what do they have? Was the Creighton game was that did it go to? Nothing go to overtime? Did it? No, it didn't go to overtime. It did, didn't it? It did go to overtime. It did go to overtime. Yeah, so double overtime. So I feel like they're going to start to lose some legs here. Did you just say Gonzaga, by the way?
Oh yeah, you said Purdue is going to handle both of these teams, and I was like, well,
I was making sure.
They're going to play a little combo tournament next year or something.
Yeah, so I think, I think it's going to be a hell of a game, but I think, we'll talk about it. We'll have another video I guess, will we have another video before? No, probably not, because they're going to be rolling right into the game Saturday, Sunday. We'll have one before the Final Four next weekend. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I think that might be a live line hop in for me. Like Tennessee gets up like 5-0 early, and you can get like Creighton like plus like 4.5, 5-ish on the live line. I think that's a nice way to attack this game here. But all right, so let's go over what we think happens here. So we have we'll go one more recap. We have UConn, Illinois would be in the Elite Eight up here, and then
who do we like there then? Let's say it goes UConn, Illinois. I like UConn, because we're not going to have another meeting here. So, I feel like I mean, I like UConn over Iowa State or Illinois.
I will be on Illinois.
You think it's a pick'em?
I'll be on. No, it won't be a pick'em. No, it'll be UConn probably what? I mean, it depends on how Illinois looks. If Illinois beats Iowa State by like 10, I think UConn probably like 3.5. Definitely not a pick'em though.
No, I mean for you, personally, you're like, hey, I think it could go either way. Your mental. Pick,
I'll be on Illinois. I'll be on Illinois. I mean, I know UConn's a great team, but I just feel like eventually them winning last year is just going to come back, and these teams never have success really, the next year. I mean, UConn, I don't think this field's like crazy strong. So, I mean, in this scenario, I feel like UConn does have enough to win, but I feel like, they're due to get unlucky because they've been getting lucky with the breaks of who they're playing. I feel like some stuff's going to start going against them. So, I mean, I'll be on Illinois spread if they play UConn. I hope Illinois beats Iowa State, but I think UConn's probably a shoo-in against San Diego State. So, I mean, it'll be a great game though, right? I mean, offensively, I think they'll be seeing a lot of points in that one. But yeah, I think that would be an ideal matchup. Great game to watch, UConn, Illinois. So let's head down to UNC, Arizona. I'll be on Arizona heavily probably in this game if I get to it. I mean, I don't love Caleb Love, but I feel like Arizona's just got more of a 1 through 5 better lineup than North Carolina. North Carolina's kind of got like 3 guys that are like good, and then other than that, it's like eh. So what do you think on that one?
They really fall off. They do.
Yeah.
I'd like UNC there personally. I'm just stick to North Carolina, stick to the roots.
I'll tell you what.
I've watched them a lot.
I'll tell you what. Arizona will be a favorite in that game if they do play.
I don't doubt it. I mean, Vegas doesn't like UNC at all. I mean,
yeah, you saw with the Michigan State line.
It was 4 points, and now Alabama, it's only 4 points again. And I think they're on paper substantially better than Michigan State and Alabama, and the spread's not higher than it's not 6.5 or something like I think it should be. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Baylor was laying points. I mean, Zona was laying points there. I had Baylor in the Elite Eight on my paper. That's how I saw it. That's why I said Baylor.
Okay, yeah, so that'd a hell of a game though, man. That'd be our dream to watch. You can't ask for anything better than that. So that'd be exciting. So we have UConn versus Illinois up here, and then let's still click it through. Okay, let me do that there. So UConn, Illinois, right? And then we have UNC versus Zona. So top right, obviously you like Houston. I mean, I do think Houston will win the game, so I will also probably agree with you there. I don't know if Duke's just going to be able to stop them down low. So I'm going to go chalky up here. I'm going to go Houston, Marquette. I think NC State's run ends. I know you like NC State there, so I respect that. What's that line right now? Was it like 6.5-ish?
Yeah, 6.5.
Okay. And then you like Gonzaga over Purdue and Creighton over Tennessee. So you have a 5 versus 3 down here. I'm usually not a chalker, but it looks like my predictions here are looking pretty rough. But so I would have Purdue over Tennessee just because that's kind of like a hard bet, Tennessee over Creighton for me to pick that. But I think Creighton's going to give them a hell of a game. That's a coin flip to me. So, all right, cool, man. So let's situationally say, so we have UConn versus Illinois. Okay, you have UConn taking out them, then you have NC over Zona. So you'd have a 1 versus a 1, and then we'd have Houston versus NC State for you, and then Purdue taking on, or Gonzaga for you taking on Creighton. So yeah, you got some upsets in there.
That's basically what I have on paper right here.
Yeah, you were saying it. I remember. Yeah, you were saying it. I mean, yeah, it's
been chalky. So
pretty true to form.
You know, I feel like this is one of those years where people didn't have that big moment outside of Kentucky on like Friday afternoon where you're like, my bracket's over. Right?
Yeah.
Outside of Kentucky, like I'd say where, you know, that dude on Oakland went absolutely unconscious and broke the internet. Besides that, there wasn't too many like major show-stopping updates. But yeah, I got UConn, UNC, Houston, and Creighton in my Final Four, and I also had the Zaga Creighton in that corner of the region over there because I hate Purdue.
Yeah, I know you do.
I had Utah State over them in my bracket just out of spite.
Hey, listen, I respect anybody who's willing to put their neck out there, and you got to stick to your guns, man. You don't like Purdue, and you keep picking them to go down. But hey, listen, if they win, you're going to hear about it from me for a very long time.
I know. I'll Michigan.
yeah. Well, I was telling you about to bet them in September too, so you didn't listen to me.
Yeah, them and San Fran hurt.
San Fran, that killed me. All right, cool, man. So it looks like, you know, we're on tap for some good games for sure. And if some of the games go the way that we predict that they will, we'll have a really solid Elite Eight round or two for Saturday and Sunday, which would be really, really exciting and some great games. So right now, looking at the prices, you see how heavy UConn is as a favorite. They're like plus 200 right now. Isn't that pretty wild?
I mean, that's just no value. Like, you're going to sweat all those games. You imagine sweating 4 games for 200 plus 200.
You might as well just roll the money line over and over again. You'll get better than that because, I mean, worst comes to worst, any team they play in the championship, it's going to be less than, I mean, unless they played like NC State or Gonzaga, it's going to be less than 5. So if you roll the money line.
Even if Gonzaga rolled through Purdue and then, you know, Creighton or Tennessee and then Houston, like if you beat all those teams, you're not going to be like getting 6 from UConn unless UConn was just murdering San Diego State, Illinois, Zona, whoever, right? Unless they absolutely were just rolling. I feel like plus 200 is a joke.
Do you see any value on the board right now? Like if you had to pick one team here, let's go through some of the lines. So I think it was on FanDuel right now as of Tuesday night. Right now we have 220 UConn, 550 Houston, 550 Purdue, 850 Zona, 1100 Tennessee. I mean, I guess you could say like UNC, if they played their cards right and they played some of their best games, I think 13-1 could be a decent price. I do have some Marquette futures at they're 16-1 right now. I have them at like 30-1. Do I think Marquette can win it all? Probably not. So I wouldn't want to put that out there. I was like for value. But I think Illinois at 32-1 is, if I had to give a value pick, that's what I would give. So if they can somehow get past UConn, I think it's very well within their wheelhouse to be able to take out Arizona or UNC in the Final Four. And 32-1 with how they've looked and how the competition isn't too low. You just got to get over that hurdle of UConn. And then
I think that draw is too hard, though, man, to back it. At 33-1, I mean, like, if you're going to go through Iowa State, UConn, Arizona, Purdue/Houston, whoever, like, that's 4 really tough games you have to win. Like, I know it sounds crazy. I would take a flyer at NC State at 100-1. I mean, I think Marquette's very beatable. And then if you got Duke, I think they're very beatable.
Yeah.
I think the next game would be tough. The next 2 would be very tough for them. But at that point in time, maybe even found hedge value. You know what I mean? I think they are very well win the South.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a long shot. That's a long shot. I don't think they're going to necessarily do it, but I think that, I think they have a very I like their draw better than Illinois getting out of the East.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why you're getting 32-1. I mean, if you had Illinois over, on that side of the bracket, I think you're getting at best 16-1. I think you're cutting it in half. So I
Right,
feel
with
like
Marquette.
you're
Yeah.
just the
'Cause
UConn.
What is Iowa State?
The UConn hurdle is the everything. I don't think Iowa State is that good. I personally don't. I don't like. I haven't
What's
liked
their
them all
odds?
year. They would be a toss away from me at what is it? Yeah, I mean they're 20-1. The UConn hurdle is what it's jacking these lines up for that side of the bracket, which is understandable. I mean UConn looks great. I can't say they don't. I'd be remiss to say that they don't look good. But I just think at some point, just winning last year, it's going to come and bite them in the ass. I hope it does. I mean, I don't want to watch them win it again. So yeah, I would say Illinois for some value. You like NC State right now? It's 120-1. So I mean, there's a little extra value for you right there.
Yeah, you can find head value. I think they could get out of the South for sure. Winning the next two would be tough, but at that point, you're just praying it's just you're destined. Maybe Jimmy V comes out of the casket and just suits up. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, man, cool. We got a great weekend of games headed our way starting Thursday night. I'll definitely be in contact with you. We'll see if we can cook up some locks. Don't forget to follow our Twitter or X's at Nation. I'll put them on the screen, and at LockOdd Brett on X. We'll be throwing some picks out there for you guys. And then we'll come back next week, and we're going to do a Final Four preview / reaction video to this weekend's game. So Lock Nation Sports signing off. Johnny Lord, any final parting words for us? You're going to give me a little Zaga money line?
Dude, Bobby, I'll be breaking out this right now, about 6-0 right now with the Scheffler cap on. I'm counting on ice over here, ready to go, locked and loaded for Thursday. I'm going to be on UNC. I know that already, but I got to find out what else I'm on. But have to check the Twitter for that.
All right, my man. I wish you the best of luck. We will talk soon, and can't wait for Thursday, my man.